To the incident that happened when you say you were 17, he says you were at least 18.
Right.
Where you both agree that there was sexual intercourse.
Right.
Now you say that you were a minor. And you actually did say that on the radio show as well. You said 17 when you spoke with Nick Ritchie, a guy who has a website called The Dirty. And he says, Scott Baio says that's not true. You were over 18 because in that exchange, you say it happened well after shooting was over. Well after shooting was over of Charles in Charge. Baio's produced proof that shooting on Charles in Charge ended in May of 1990 when you would have been 18.
Correct.
So he says by your own admission, essentially, it had to be 18 or later.
Right. But what my truth is that I wasn't ready to tell my story. And for me, it was always protecting the show and protecting, that whole legacy that nothing happened there. That was my delusion, and that was my cover-up always. And, that's not the first time I covered it up. I did it my whole life. I always lied about it because I didn't want anybody to know.
That statement you gave to Yahoo, let's talk about that one, because that was pretty explicit, where you say you were asked about him, and they asked you, so this means your ex, Scott Baio, is not a psycho ex, and you say, no, he's not. And they asked maybe you could guest star on his Nick at Night show, and you said, totally, I would love to work with him. There are a lot of weird, strange rumors about things that went on between us, but we became really good friends, and everything is way more innocent than it was made out to be.
Yeah. Well, if I could go back to a younger Nicole, I would tell her that she doesn't have to be ashamed that she's a victim, and shame plays such a weird part and such a strong voice. It just, you lie. I mean, I didn't want anybody to look at me and think I was weak. I didn't want anybody to look at me and think, oh, victim. And it's not until now that I see other people coming forward and how many women I talk to that this has happened to. And it's more common than not, unfortunately. And when I talk to other women, I don't look at them and think, oh, you're weak, or, ew, you're a victim. And so it's made me realize that it's not gross and it's not embarrassing.
Let me ask you to tell us what you say happened beginning at age 14 with him.
Well, we started filming the show in September of '86 when I was 14, and he immediately took to me and befriended me and earned my trust. And then he started expressing his love for me, and sorry, it's emotional, and talking about marriage in the future. And then I was still 14 before my 15th birthday. We were at his house, in his car, in his garage. And he reached over and he penetrated me with his finger. And that is when the sexual touching and abuse started after that.
The age of consent, just so you know, is 18 in California, and was back then as well. So there's no consenting for a 14 or even a 17-year-old in these circumstances. So I'm not asking you whether you consented, but I'm asking you whether, as you recall that incident, whether you remember being a willing participant.
I was very young, and it was shocking a little. I had never experienced anything like that before either, so he was playing on not only my emotions, but my hormones and all of those things. And the issue with him is that he was our boss. And, he also was telling me, you can't tell anybody, this is illegal, I'll go to jail, the show will be over, everybody will be sued, you'll be out of a job, and you ruin everybody's life, and it's scary. It's intimidating, especially when you're that young.